Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another amazing episode of your favorite audio series, Unappreciated Treasure. This is your favorite storyteller, Gwen Fairfax. This is your first time on this channel, you are most welcome, and I promise that you will love it here. And for my oldies but goodies, thank you for always coming back and supporting the ministry. You are loved and appreciated. Please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy. It was Chelsy's 25th birthday, and Hank had invited her out for a surprise. Chelsy had taken a helicopter ride to the famous Ringland Hotels and Suites, located in East London. When Chelsy got there, there was a lady waiting to accompany her to where Hank was. "Greetings, Miss Powers. This way, please." Chelsy followed the lady into a beautifully decorated and well-lit room. The room had a candle-lit dinner set up for two. There was light music playing in the background, and the room was adorned with luxuriously designed furniture, with beautiful fresh tulips and rose flowers of different colors. This setup showed the grandeur and wealth of the place. Hank sat down, elegantly looking like Adonis, the Greek god of beauty and desire. He was truly breathtaking. Seeing Hank in this outfit and his full face without a hoodie on, Chelsy had a million thoughts going through her mind. Oh my goodness! I will be damned. This guy should definitely be a descendant of the Greek god Zeus. Chelsy thought to herself. Chelsy had never been one to swoon over anyone based on their physical looks. But when it came to Hank, it seemed as if there was something way stronger than his physical looks that drew them closer. Seemed as if he was the missing piece of the puzzle she had been searching for. Hank stood from his seat and walked up majestically to Chelsy. Even his steps exuded elegance and class. He took Chelsy's hand and gave a gentle peg on the back of her hand. "Welcome, Chelsy, and happy birthday. You look so beautiful." As he spoke, his lips curled upward, turning into a warm and genuine smile that reached his eyes. His bright smile brought out his beautiful dimples, which could enchant anyone present in the room. Chelsy felt a gush of hot flashes running through her whole body. She felt as though she was being tasered. Chelsy was so carried away by his handsome face so much so that she didn't realize she had blurted out her thoughts. "How can someone like you be real?" Hank gave a little chuckle which brought Chelsy back to reality. Chelsy shook her head and cleared her throat. "Hello, gancarnagh." Chelsy's voice sounded like a whisper. She could feel her throat becoming dry as if her mouth was void of saliva. "Come sit down," Hank said, as he directed her to the other chair opposite his. He pulled out a chair and asked her to sit down. "Thank you." She spoke with her face depicting a little nervousness. "Hope you coming here tonight wasn't so stressful," Hank asked while staring deep into Chelsy's eyes. "No, it was great. Thank you. But you went too far with the helicopter ride and all. You didn't have to go through all that pain, you know?" Hank gave a little chuckle and replied, "My dear Chelsy, it is your silver birthday, and that was the least I could do to make it special. So don't thank me, okay?" Chelsy felt quite intimidated sitting with him one-on-one. When they spoke over the phone, she felt very comfortable and could say whatever she needed to say. But right now, in front of him, it seemed as though her words had flown away and left her stranded in a desert. Hank had said something, but Chelsy didn't pay attention to what he said. Hank cleared his throat and asked, "Chelsy, did you hear what I just said?" Chelsy had been lost in thought and didn't hear what Hank had said. She jolted from her thoughts and stuttered, I am sorry. But what did you say?" Hank looked at her and asked, "Chelsy, is everything okay? You seem a little distant." Chelsy felt a little embarrassed and gave an awkward smile. "Yes. Sorry about that. I am okay. I guess it is the adrenaline from the helicopter ride and all that." She took a deep breath and acted like her normal self. "So tell me, gancarnagh, when did you get back? And how did you know today is my birthday? In fact, when did you set all of this up?" She pointed at the room set up in flowers. Hank, who was relaxed in his seat and looking at Chelsy deep into her eyes, replied without taking his eyes off her. "My little fairy, I came back this morning. I wanted to celebrate your birthday with you. And as for me knowing your birthday, I knew it the same day I found out who you were." Chelsy's eyes widened as if she had remembered something. "How did you find me? I believe London is so big that you finding me wouldn't be a mere coincidence." Hank laced his fingers together and placed them under his chin. His gaze was so piercing that Chelsy felt she could disappear. Hank cleared his throat and replied, "First of, a goldfish cannot be hidden, my dearest Chelsy. Let's just say I was meant to find you." Chelsy could feel her cheeks turning red. She composed herself and said, "Okay, I guess this is the point where you told me about yourself and who you are. And lest I forget, you do have very loyal employees. They wouldn't budge whenever I asked them about you." The atmosphere had a comfortable feeling at that point. The nervousness on Chelsy's face had disappeared. Hank didn't answer Chelsy, but picked up a knife and gently tapped the corner of his wine glass. In a few seconds, a waiter entered the room and bowed. "Sir." Hank indicated with his hand for him to open the wine that was placed before them. The waiter opened and poured into Chelsy's glass first, and then into Hank's glass. It was a 1991 Domaine de la Romanée Conti Grand Cru, a very classy and expensive French wine. Hank raised his glass and said, "Happy birthday, little fairy." Chelsy raised her glass and clinked his. She sipped the fine wine and nodded. As much as Chelsy was not good when it came to alcohol, she could tell good wine when she tasted one. The wine felt silky and smooth in her mouth. "Holy smokes. This is good," Chelsy spoke as she gulped the wine down in one go. "Slow down, okay? Unless you want to get drunk." When Chelsy heard this, she just smiled and said, "You still haven't answered my questions, Mr. Gancarnagh." Hank twirled the wine glass in his hand, then took a sip and replied, "My name is Henry, but you can call me Hank for short, and I am a businessman. I am not a drug lord nor a cartel leader as you thought." He winked and gave a little smile as he said that. When Chelsy heard what Hank had said, she extended her hand across the table for a handshake. "It is nice meeting you, Henry, or should I say Hank? Finally, I know your real name. No more gancarnagh and all that." They both gave a little chuckle. Chelsy leaned forward, placed her elbows on the table, and interlaced her fingers. She placed her chin on her laced fingers and asked, "So tell me, Hank, how do you know my boss, Mr. Daniel Maximilian? Are you guys friends?" Hank leaned back in his seat and replied, "Well, it is a yes and a no." Chelsy had a befuddled look on her face. "What does that mean?" she asked. Hank went ahead to explain what he meant. "Chelsy, he is my cousin and at the same time my best friend." When Chelsy heard this, she was flabbergasted. Her eyes were wide as her jaws hung open. Seemed as if Chelsy had realized something. She stuttered on her words. Are you by any chance Henry Fitzwilliam?" Chelsy could not help her twitching fingers as she placed them beneath the table in order to hide them while waiting for Hank's response. Hank just nodded and replied, "Henry Del Monte Fitzwilliam. That is my complete name." The room felt hot, and the air became so heavy for Chelsy to breathe properly. She felt her throat dry as if she was in a desert with no water. She picked up the glass of water in front of her and began drinking it slowly. Hank looked at Chelsy and raised his eyebrows. "Chelsy, are you okay?" The atmosphere, which had been calmed, suddenly became tensed as Chelsy realized she was sitting in front of the feared, ruthless, and most respected Henry Fitzwilliam, the wealthiest man not only in London but the whole of United Kingdom. Chelsy nodded and said, "I am fine. I just can't fathom the fact that I have been talking with Henry Fitzwilliam all this time. It now makes perfect sense to me. Were you responsible for Kyle Hastings' name being blacklisted?" Hank raised the corner of his mouth and asked, "What do you think?" Chelsy didn't need a soothsayer to tell her otherwise. "How did you find out about him?" Chelsy asked. Hank smiled and replied, "Let's just say that I was at the right place at the right time to see everything." "Chelsy, look at me. Listen, I don't want my identity or personality to change how we treat each other, okay? I don't want you becoming reserved and walking on eggshells whenever you are around me. Please, I truly value your friendship. Is that a deal?" Hank extended his hand to Chelsy. Chelsy felt the tension that had started building up, starting to fade. She gave a big sigh and replied, "Okay then, Hank. It is a deal." She shook his hand and gave a little smile. They both sat down and had dinner. It was one of the best dinners Chelsy had ever had. Seemed as if he had ordered all the meals Chelsy loved. Chelsy was a lover of seafoods, and there was a variety of seafoods on the table. They spent the evening chatting, laughing, and sipping good wine. "Hank, thank you for making my silver birthday one to remember." Hank had a warm smile on his face. He stood up and extended his hand towards Chelsy. "Come. There is something I want to show you." He took Chelsy's hand into his and brought her to the rooftop. As they stood there looking down at the brightly lit city from the rooftop, fireworks started flying over them. B. Chelsy was overwhelmed as tears started rolling down her cheeks. "This is truly beautiful, Hank. No one has ever done something like this for me." She spoke in a whisper. But Hank had heard everything she said. She turned and suddenly gave Hank a hug. Hank was a little startled as he wasn't expecting that. He instinctively took a step back. Not that he didn't like the hug, but because of how he felt when she hugged him. "I am so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I guess I was carried away and acted out of character." Chelsy spoke as she stepped back from Hank while biting her lower lip in embarrassment. It was a little chilly outside, and Hank took off his suit jacket and placed it on Chelsy. "Your cheeks are flushed. Put this on so as not to catch a cold." Chelsy placed both hands on her flushed cheeks and just smiled awkwardly. Her cheeks weren't flushed because of the cold. It was as a result of the unexpected hug and Hank stepping backwards. She was so embarrassed. "Chelsy, here you are acting like a total nutcase. This is so embarrassing." Chelsy cursed herself inwardly. "It is almost midnight. Let me take you home," Hank said. Chelsy just nodded as they took the elevator to the ground floor. As they stepped out of the hotel, Asher, who was standing at the door of Hank's luxury Rolls-Royce and already waiting for them at the entrance, greeted them both. Hank opened the rear door and Chelsy moved inside. He went to the other side and got in too. Chelsy was already tired and dizzy from the little alcohol she had consumed. As they were driving home, Chelsy could not help yawning. Her eyes slowly drifted and she closed them. She didn't realize it, but she had placed her head on Hank's shoulder as she dozed off. Hank just looked at her and gave a little smile. "I don't know when this little fairy system will learn to tolerate a little alcohol." He moved closer towards Chelsy to make her more comfortable. He gently called out to the driver, "Asher, drive slowly." "Yes, boss," Asher answered with a little grin on his face. Hank was a totally different person whenever he was with Chelsy. He was sweet, gentle, and very considerate, as compared to his aloof, stern, and authoritative personality when he was with others. Took about an hour and 30 minutes to drive to Chelsy's apartment. Chelsy was completely knocked out like a baby drunk on milk. Will Hank wake Chelsy to get her into her apartment, or will he carry Chelsy into her apartment? Hank looked at the sleeping beauty lying on his shoulder and couldn't help but admire how peaceful and beautiful she was. He took out his phone from his chest pocket and took a picture of Chelsy as she slept. With a voice that was as calm and tender as a summer evening breeze, Hank called out to Chelsy, "Little fairy, we are home. Wake up and let's get you inside." Hank tried waking Chelsy up, but she snuggled more into his arms and found a more comfortable position to sleep in. Hank gave a little chuckle and pushed the strand of hair that was covering her face. She looked like a doll while sleeping. "You look so fragile, innocent, and cute, little fairy. I can't believe someone would ever have the guts to hurt you." Hank muttered as he pushed aside the strand of hair that was stuck in her face. He stepped out and carried Chelsy into his arms. Asher? Bring Chelsy's purse and take out her key, Hank called out. Asher quickly stepped out of the driver's seat and did exactly what Hank asked him to do. Hank carried Chelsy into her apartment and laid her on her bed. She was so peaceful as she slept. Hank caressed her cheek and spoke quietly. Thank you for making me so happy and bringing sunshine once more into my dark world, Chelsy. He leaned forward and pressed a kiss on her forehead. He quietly walked out of Chelsy's apartment and left. Meanwhile, the person Nicole had sent to stalk Chelsy gave her an update. He had called her to give feedback on what he had gathered so far. Ma'am, I actually followed Chelsy. Someone had come to pick her up in a luxurious car. From every indication, the person who picked her up seemed to be a driver. I followed them to their destination, which was the Lonnie Towers. There was a lady there, dressed in a black suit, waiting for her. They seemed quite close and friendly. But I didn't quite get a picture of her face because her back was facing my camera. I waited all night, but Chelsy nor the lady came out of the building. I think maybe the lady in question is the person Chelsy had gone to see. I have sent you some pictures. Cole took a deep breath and said, continue tailing her. I need solid pictures and better details. She ended the call and started looking at the pictures the person had sent to her. She saw how beautiful Chelsy's dress was and realized it was a limited edition dress. Only 2 of those dresses were made. She also saw Gina placing her hand on Chelsy's shoulder, but her face was not visible. Wait a minute, is that not the Larry Monet limited edition dress? That dress alone cost £60,000. How could she afford such an expensive dress? And wait a minute, is Chelsy a lesbian? Who is that woman holding Chelsy like that? Is that her lover? Nicole's head was spinning with so many questions running through her mind. Oh, Nicole. Stop sounding like an idiot. Just wait for your investigator to bring you the complete info. She mumbled to herself. It was the morning the next day, and Chelsy fluttered her eyes open. She had had a long sleep. It had been a while she slept in that long. She felt quite rested. As she sat on her bed, she realized she was still in the same outfit as the previous day. Her eyes were wide open as she tried to remember what had happened the previous night. Oh my goodness! I dozed off while on our way home. But how did I get into my apartment? Did Hank carry me into my room? She placed her hands over her mouth as she cursed herself internally. Chelsy, you are a complete idiot. How many times do you have to consume alcohol to know that it doesn't like you one bit? She stood up and realized she was still wearing Hank's jacket. She smelled his jacket and said, "Oh, Hank! He is just so perfect. Even his smell is so enticing." Chelsy hit her forehead in order to stop having such thoughts. She went into the bathroom and took a long, relaxing shower. She wore a comfy lounge trousers and a cropped top. Since it was Saturday, she decided to stay indoors and watch a movie and just have a me time to herself. It was after midday when her phone suddenly rang. When she checked the caller ID, she saw that it was her best friend Rachel. "Hey, bestie. Good morning." Rachel, at the other end of the line, answered with an enthusiastic voice. "Hey, baby girl. Hope your date yesterday was amazing. So start talking. Who did you meet yesterday and how was it?" Chelsy gave a little laugh and replied, "Ratch, you are such a pantomath. Anyway, I got you. I will let the cat out of the bag. I had a date with Gancarnagh. Girl, you wouldn't believe who Gancarnagh is." Rachel couldn't help with the suspense anymore. "Chels, are you going to keep me waiting for eternity before you spill the beans? Come on, girl, I am already developing green grass under my feet waiting." Chelsy gave a little laugh and responded, "Okay, ma'am. Do you know Gancarnagh is no other person but Henry Fitzwilliam?" Rachel, at the other end of the line, replied, "Wait, Chelsy. The only Henry Fitzwilliam that I have ever heard my father talking about is the faceless CEO of Fitzwilliam Group, the youngest and richest billionaire in the whole of the United Kingdom. Is it a different Henry Fitzwilliam, or is it the mysterious Henry Fitzwilliam? Chelsy couldn't help but laugh at Rachel's analogy of who Hank was. Ratch, he is not faceless, okay? He is the gancarnagh that I have been talking about. The faceless CEO of Fitzwilliam Group is the same person as gancarnagh. Chelsy went ahead and forwarded a picture of herself and Hank that they had taken together the previous day while having dinner. I have sent you a picture. He is not faceless. When Rachel saw the picture, she screamed so loud that Chelsy felt as though her eardrums would fall out. Holly molly, Chelsy. He is delicious. I have always thought he would look like a one-eyed, cranky-looking man with beards all over his chin with a potbelly. And that should be the reason why he didn't show his face in public. But girl, with a face like that, he should jealously hide it because every lady online would definitely want a piece of that delicious pie. He is freaking hot. So tell me, what happened on your date yesterday? Chelsy went ahead to recount everything that had happened. From him sending her a dress, a driver, a helicopter ride, and a private dinner in the most luxurious 7-star hotel in East London. Rachel couldn't help but swoon over everything. Chels, what do you think about him? Do you like him? Chelsy felt as though an electric current had been sent through her entire body. Come on, Rachel, what the hell are you talking about? This guy might be having a girlfriend or a fiancé. Chelsy stopped, and her face suddenly turned sullen when she mentioned Hank might be having a girlfriend. Chelsy, I didn't ask you whether he had a girlfriend or not. I asked how you feel about him. Chelsy took a deep sigh and replied, Ratch, to be honest with you, I cannot explain how I feel. I can't place my hand on it exactly. I know that he makes me laugh and I feel comfortable and safe around him. But there is still that little voice telling me something isn't right. You know exactly what happened between Kenneth Roberts and I. Everything with him was all a lie. And the worst part is, I actually believed the lies and got terribly hurt in the end. I had promised myself never to let my emotions control my head ever again. So I guess whatever emotions I have inside, I will just have to bury them. Hank might not even see me in that light, as you think. He might just be repaying the favor I did to him in Mount Halo. So Ratch, please stop putting those thoughts in my head. I don't want to assume something which isn't there. I don't want to get hurt again. All through as Chelsy was speaking, Rachel was quiet. She let out a heavy breath and said with a softer tone, Chels, I understand where you are coming from, okay? I know that jerk called Ken hurt you terribly. But please don't close your heart to love. Don't misquote me. I am not talking about Henry. You deserve to love and be loved in return. Ken was just your first love. Trust me, there are millions or even billions of people out there who are different from that jerk. Just have an open mind about it, okay? If Hank or whoever it is loves you and wants a relationship with you, give it a try. If it doesn't work out, you move on. That is life, my dear. Chelsy gave a soft chuckle and spoke in a soft tone. Oh, my dear, sweet, sweet Rachel. You always know the right thing to say every time. How I miss you and wish you were here to give me a big hug. Tears welled up in Chelsy's eyes as she spoke to Rachel. Shush now, hon, my holiday has been approved for next month. So I will come over and spend some days with you, okay? Chelsy couldn't help but smile. Two best friends spoke for some minutes and said their goodbyes. Back at Hank's penthouse, he had come back from the gym and taken a shower. He was putting on his loungewear, but his hair was still wet. His cousin Daniel walked in with a big grin plastered on his face. Hello, my sweet gancarnagh. Missed me? Daniel walked past Hank and sat on the couch. He took the freshly squeezed orange juice that was placed on the coffee table and had a sip. He acted as if Hank was not there. Yummy. This is nice, he muttered as he licked his lips. Hank just rolled his eyes and said with an indifferent expression, You are not allowed to call me that. Daniel gave a cackle and replied, I know that only your sweet little Miss Mountain Fairy is allowed to call you that. Hank couldn't stand Daniel's shenanigans and asked, What are you doing in my house at this time? Don't you have things to do with your weekends? If you are so bored, just call your girlfriend Laura, or better still, take a flight and pay her a visit. You keep bugging me as if I am your lover. Daniel couldn't help it but smirk. Even if you were the last man on earth and I was a woman, I would never take a second glance at you, mate. You are so unromantic boring. A day with you as a lover will be like me signing up for a suicide mission. Anyway, I came here because I haven't seen you in over a month, and I have come to actually drag you to Nana's house. She is expecting you and me tonight for dinner. Hank just looked at Daniel and said nothing. Daniel went further. Lest thee forget. How did it go yesterday? Did Chelsy love the surprise and everything? This actually caught Hank's attention. He walked over to the next couch and sat down. Yesterday was truly special. I saw how happy she was. I didn't know that the little gesture I made yesterday would impress her. Hank's eyes were literally glistening with joy as he spoke about Chelsy. Have you spoken with her today? Daniel asked. Hank raised his eyebrows and replied, I really want to call her, but I am afraid she might still be sleeping and the call might wake her up. Daniel looked at Hank with a bewildered look and asked, Bruh, it is after midday already. Do you think she would still be sleeping at this time? Who leaves a knocked-out woman the whole night and doesn't call the next day to find out how she is? This will make you lose points with her, dude. If you really want to woo and win a woman's heart, you have to be intentional, mate. And Chelsy is someone you should be intentional with. From the way I am seeing things, it seems as if her secret admirers are increasing every day. I see how they send her flowers and other things every day. So if you wish to win her, you have to be fast about it. Daniel had purposely said that to trigger Hank into acting fast. What Daniel had said resonated with him. Anyway, I was around your neighborhood and decided to pop in and say hello. Remember, Nana is expecting us tonight. Adios, brah. He stood up and stepped out of Hank's penthouse. What Daniel had said was eating Hank up. His countenance had changed from normal to moody and even angry. He took out his phone and dialed Chelsy's number. It rang the first time and Chelsy didn't pick up. Where could she be? Hank mumbled to himself. Called the second time, and on the third ring, Chelsy picked up with a soft and sweet voice. Hey, Hank. How are you today? Hank's expression softened, and he spoke in a more gentle voice as compared to the voice he had used with Daniel earlier on. Hey, Chelsy. I am okay. How are you feeling this morning? Hope you don't have a bad hangover? Chelsy gave a soft chuckle and replied, I guess I had a good nurse who brought me home yesterday and ensured that I was well tucked in my bed. So how can I get a hangover? They both gave a gentle laughter over the phone. Hank, Chelsy softly called out. I want to thank you once more for what you did last night. I truly appreciate it. No one has ever done that much for me. Thank you, gancarnagh. Hank's lips curled up into a smile and he replied, My little fairy. How many times will you thank me for the same thing? I am certain the thank yous in your system have probably been exhausted, and there is none left. Anyway, if you want to thank me, let's go out next Friday. Chelsy, who had been listening, didn't say anything for some seconds. Chelsy, are you still there? Hank asked. Yes. I am still here. Sorry about that. She breathed. Hank asked again. Chelsy, I said I would like us to go out on a date on Friday. What do you think about that? Hank's heart was thumping in anticipation, waiting for Chelsy's response. Will she accept to go on another date with Hank or not? To know what happens next, stay tuned to find out on the next episode of your favorite audio series, Unappreciated Treasure. Toodles.